So today we're going to do a comparison of Scarlett Johansson versus Angelina Jolie.
Ugh.
Now, who are you favoring?
Hey, man, you know what? I have watched Angelina Jolie before she got old in interviews on things like Conan and stuff like that. And if you watch closely, you will see that that woman has the scariest blue vein that travels the entirety of her forehead.
You always start it with a nice, not character-concerned trivia, like Tom Cruise. Height, little man. So, honestly, though, Scarlett and Angelina are a bit off as far as age goes. However, professionally, their work is a lot more similar than you might think. The big difference between them is Angelina Jolie has won an Oscar, yet not been nominated or anything outside of that Oscar.
And never showered.
And Scarlett Johansson has never even been nominated for an Oscar. But she does have 4 Golden Globes, so something's getting lost in between those two shows.
Yeah, I'm calling bullshit on that.
Okay, so the first, if you haven't seen actor comparisons before, we're going to compare these two women categorically. So drama, just to go through the films briefly, Scarlett Johansson has the movie Her, which is pretty much a voice performance where she plays the operating system that Joaquin Phoenix falls in love with.
What is love?
The Black Dahlia, Match Point, A Love Song for Bobby Long, Girl with a Pearl Earring, Lost in Translation, and Hail Caesar. So, admittedly, a good portion of those are probably movies a lot of our audience has not seen because they're definitely more in the romance, relationship category, but Lost in Translation is a very big one for her. That's probably her big like drama movie alongside Her, which was nominated for an Academy Award. Angelina Jolie has Changeling, which she was nominated for, Girl Interrupted, The Good Shepherd, Alexander, Gia, and George Wallace. So, not personally super into either one of those lists personally.
What are we talking about?
So, Scarlett Johansson, as far as my preferences go, the only movie I really, really liked on her drama list was Her. How do you feel about Scarlett's drama films?
Well, you know what? I'll man up and admit that I do like a good drama. Her, though well written, was the type of storyline that made you a little bit uncomfortable.
Yep.
Kind of like Leon the Professional.
Yep.
In that sense.
Her was on a whole nother level of uncomfortable.
Yes, it was, but it had that same feel. Well done, but not exactly my cup of tea. And that's really the story with a lot of their movies.
What about Lost in Translation? How do you feel about that? Have you seen that?
I have. I have mixed feelings on it.
Okay, so you're not sold on it. How about, so for Angelina, which one of these stand out to you? Changeling, Girl Interrupted, Good Shepherd, Alexander, Gia, George Wallace.
I'd have to say Girl Interrupted.
For me, and I'm going to pick 2 films that I think were both underrated. That's The Good Shepherd, which I thought was a very good film, which got blasted right over for awards. And Alexander, the director's cut, she's very important in that movie, and she is a big, big part of motivation for Alexander the Great. So those 2, I think she did a great job in. So if you take the films out of it and you just think about how they performed in each of these movies, which one of them is superior?
Well, you're going to have to go Angelina Jolie because you missed the most important drama that there is for her.
I'm sure it's going to be something stupid.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
I even knew that that's the movie you were going to use.
That was a
Her
beautiful...
and Brad Pitt's chemistry was so real, it became real.
That was a love story for the ages.
Well, they did try to kill each other, but they got through a true struggle.
Yeah. You know what that goes to tell you? A little attempt at homicide and marriage counseling goes a long way for getting the bad feelings out.
Yeah. Just try to kill him once in a while.
Yeah. Just try not to succeed.
So, overall, Angelina is a pretty clear winner. In my opinion, Scarlett's best performance is between Lost in Translation and Her. And Her is great, but it's only her voice. She doesn't actually appear in the movie. So Angelina's going to win that with her Oscar win pretty handily. So the next category is action. So this is an interesting category, actually, because Scarlett Johansson has done that Lucy movie, which is kind of stupid, 10% of your brain. But
I didn't even finish it.
Right, it was an action movie, okay? So clearly she can lead an action movie. However, she does have a huge landmark character. She plays Black Widow in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, in the Avengers. She's the female. She's the big first really mainstream female hero in our current generation, and she is the one who plays it. She's appeared in Captain America Civil War, Winter Soldier, Avengers Age of Ultron. She's all over the place. She was in Iron Man as well, one of them. So she's created a very iconic character in that.
Well, yeah, she's the sex symbol of that franchise.
Right. But she does hold her own, and it takes a heavy level of talent to, be able to represent the one female hero so far. They're going to be adding a couple more, I think, this year. But up until then, she's been the only representative. Right? So
she does do a good job. I have issues with that role, not because of her. It's just her character to the storyline.
But her portrayal, her ability to do action.
And that's exactly it. She does a great job with it. But I think that character in itself is out of place amongst the characters that she plays with.
Without going off into too much of a tangent, we could certainly get into that in the future, which I'm sure we will. Angelina, her action, of course, your personal favorite, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, is much more of an action movie than a drama movie.
I was in tears watching that. It was beautiful.
She did Tomb Raider a while back, I think almost 10 years ago at this point. She played Tomb Raider. She was also in Wanted, which was pretty well received. It was one of those Edge of Tomorrow-like movies where it was weird, but it was still cool. And she was also in Salt, which I think is very similar to Lucy in the fact that it was kind of ridiculous. But it shows that she can completely star and run an action movie with both Tomb Raider and Salt. Does Scarlett Johansson's presence in a massively big franchise overshadow Angelina Jolie's advantage in starring in more action movies?
No, as much as I hate it, because I'm going to be completely biased and say that I prefer Scarlett Johansson. But, again, this is still leaning towards Angelina Jolie for me. Because when you look at it, all of Angelina Jolie's movies, she's the center of attention. She's the main lady.
Not all of them. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Wanted,
she is the female lead in that.
Whereas... I mean... Wanted, she's kind of just there.
No, I'm talking about Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Right, yeah, she's a co-lead, but it's not like she's carrying the movie by herself like she did with Tomb Raider and Salt.
When you look at the Avengers, she is always a supporting character. I mean, she's in the movie for maybe 20, 25 minutes.
True.
She's a key player, but not a main player.
So for me, I think it actually takes a pretty heavy amount of presence to be able to even consistently appear in those Avengers movies, because she's competing against, first of all, heroes who are way more popular than Black Widow, like Iron Man, Captain America, and even Spider-Man in the most recent one. You have all kinds of superheroes who are way bigger than her, and actors who are huge. Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Mark Ruffalo.
If there wasn't ever an odd man out in that group. Let's not forget the most dreamy of them, Chris Hemsworth.
Yes, the Viking.
What I would do with a spare 20 minutes and some oil for them muscles.
So I personally think Scarlett should win because she is able to hold her own with those massive heroes, and she's able to create such an important presence in that universe. And she has led an action movie in Lucy, which is just as good as Salt and Tomb Raider because they all kind of blow. So, I mean, so the point is I think her roles are more important than Angelina's supporting roles. So we're a little bit split on action. The next category is blockbuster movies. So I basically took movies that are kind of a little bit of action and a little bit of drama, but they were hugely successful financially. So for Scarlett Johansson, The Prestige, Christopher Nolan movie, Hitchcock, she was in The Jungle Book, the most recent remake.
Yay.
And she was in The Island with Ewan McGregor, which was popular like a decade ago. Angelina Jolie is a recurring role in Kung Fu Panda. I don't know what recurring role because I don't even know who the hell she voiced in that movie. Maleficent.
She voiced the tiger.
Right. She was in Beowulf as the weird CGI sexy creature Grendel's mom. She was also in Gone in 60 Seconds, which you brought up, which is become pretty much a cult classic this point.
Although
and
maybe
Hackers.
That's more of Nick Cage's.
Right. True. Nick Cage does kind of make that movie, but let's just pick the movies. If I were just to pick the good movies out of those two categories, for me, it's Gone in 60 Seconds and The Prestige. The Prestige is one of my favorite movies. Love The Prestige. She wasn't a major part of it, but her presence was important. Gone in 60 Seconds, Angelina is a bigger part, but I don't think the movie is as good as The Prestige. So what do you feel about Blockbuster?
See, I'm a little torn there because Gone in 60 Seconds, that's like pre Fast and Furious.
Yeah,
it kind of spurs a genre.
Yeah, it did lay the groundwork.
Or at least not spurs a genre, but revived a genre that was more prominent in like the 70s and 80s with like Smokey and the Bandit, kind of those old car movies. It's hard to not acknowledge the influence that Gone in 60 Seconds had. And it kind of pulls me in a little bit more. Not to mention, it might be the nostalgia of the fact that, I mean, Gone in 60 Seconds, we were like, what, 12, 13 years old? That was kind of an influential movie for childhood.
Okay, so Blockbuster, you're leaning towards Angelina.
Yeah. Damn it. This isn't how I wanted this to pan out.
This is like the Keanu versus Tom Cruise video. It's like you know who you like better, but you can't make the argument to go that direction. Because I really wanted Keanu to beat Tom Cruise.
But anyway, Tom Cruise has just been doing great shit since the early 80s.
So I'm going to agree with you that Angelina should win Blockbuster. And it's mainly just she's more consistent. I mean, I don't think Maleficent, Beowulf are great films, but they're more consistent than Hitchcock and The Island is.
Well, I think, too, the biggest issue is, though they're not that far apart in age, you will notice that Angelina's career peaked probably 6-7 years ago.
Well, she's gone into directing now.
She has.
Unbroken, she directed that.
But my point is her time. We're comparing their time in front of the camera.
True.
And at this point, her career in front of it has taken a pretty steep dive in the last 5 years.
And I think Scarlett is rising because she's going to get a standalone film.
And that's the thing, is that's what we've been seeing, is her roles are influential, but usually supporting.
Right.
Or co-lead. It's not her movie.
Right.
But I think we're moving in that cascading direction where they're going to start being her movies.
But right now, we can't speculate.
Yeah, no, right now.
Angelina just has so many more dynamic movies. The Good Shepherd, Changeling, Girl Interrupted, Alexander, even Wanted is becoming a cult classic for, the millennials. But she's got all kinds of these movies. They're just more consistent down the board. Scarlett has some complete misses. I gotta lean Angelina to take the whole comparison. She just seems like she's done more categories, and she's done more categories consistently.
It hurts. It really hurts.
But she got action at least.
And I agree.
All right.
Her, the particular storyline and the way it was written.
Say that again.
Thanks for the professionalism there, buddy.
Say that line again.
This is your captain speaking. Please make sure to turn off all cellular devices while we travel.
Again, if you just move on. Jesus Christ.
No, I'm going to make you ashamed.
All right.
So you do better in the future. But anyway, her